Good morning, everyone. Welcome to True North. How's everyone? I'm Renata Marino, and this is True North. I'm excited to be here. I'm really excited for today's episode. Today's episode is entitled Eat the Frog. And I don't know if anyone really knows what that expression means, but really what it is doing the things that we have put off, being afraid of making that first move. Just putting off things for the next day, the next year, what have you, things that we just don't want to do. It could be things that we're afraid to do, things that we don't think that we can do, things that scare us, things that no one wants us to do, our family. It could be leaving your company to do a startup. It could be getting a divorce because you think you're going to upset your kids or your family, or moving communities, literally picking up all your bags and a community you've been in for your entire life and moving. It's just scary. I'm trying to think what else. Oh, getting on the scale, knowing that your health is at risk or that you need to lose weight and not wanting to get on the scale because you're afraid of what the number that you're going to see. What else? Breaking up with a girlfriend or a boyfriend because you don't want to hurt their feelings. Just things like small things and large things. Launching that business, doing this podcast, and I'll talk about my personal things. What else? Taking a trip alone, going to the movies alone. I mean, really things that they may seem minute, but maybe to some they're not. I'm trying to think some other examples. And I'm going to speak from personal experience because I've been through it. And I'm going to talk about what I did to push through the fear or the hesitation. So it's called Eat the Frog. Eat the Frog is a term, I don't know if anyone knows, is about doing the worst thing or the thing that you dread first. And I'm going to say I wasn't familiar with the term. A friend of mine years ago was the one that she and I were like, we're going to eat the frog today. So I'm going to credit her. But she really taught me something about this term. And I was going to say rip the Band-Aid off is the title, but eat the frog, I think, is people understand it. It's the same thing. Ripping the Band-Aid off is like, when you were a little kid and you had a cut or whatever, and the Band-Aid was on forever and it was like a deep cut or whatever. And you never wanted to take off the Band-Aid because you knew it's going to hurt, because not only does it hurt like to rip the skin off. I don't know if women who get wax, it's like it's ripping it off. It's interesting. This is related to today's topic about Eat the Frog. What happens to the psyche is that the anxiety and the thoughts that we conjure up in our head are so much worse than what actually happens. And I'm speaking from personal experience. We tend to overthink that ripping that Band-Aid off is going to be so much pain and so much like excruciating pain. And that's why our parents, at least my parents, my mom's a nurse, or was a nurse, and my dad's a doctor. It's more my mom would literally, instead of peeling off the Band-Aid, she would just rip it off. And half the time, first of all, it was like a 1 second thing. And then I'm like, that wasn't so bad. But the thing of it is in our head, we conjure up this, it's going to kill. It's going to be so painful. Oh my God. Like, what if this happens? What if the cut is not healed yet? What if it starts bleeding? All these what ifs. What if I leave my job? What if I won't make enough money? What if I launch this fund? What if nobody gives me money? What if I do this podcast, no one listens to me? What if, I do a TEDx and I get like one follower? We psych ourselves out of doing things because of what goes on up here. And I know I did it for my entire life. I mean, I think my push was more of a tough love. I just, the way I was raised is, and it has benefited me. Trust me on this, but it's been positive and negative for everything, right? But I think in terms of career growth and pushing past, I didn't make the soccer team when whatever. I tried out, I didn't make the soccer team. So the way my parents, right, or at least my mother and my father too, yeah, both of them, but she was more the driving force. Like, what are you going to do about it? You can cry for an hour, but then you need to stop crying. And what are you going to do about it? You need to get back in shape. Obviously, you're not fast enough. Obviously, and you need to try out again. Or, you didn't do well on a test. Well, what are you going to do about, you're going to have to get your grades up. You're going to have to study more. You can't go out. You can't, I mean, that's a little different, but I think when we become our own, we're our own, we'll become independent. We're not a child and we don't have our parents pushing us or anyone pushing us. We're our own independent adult. So that's why I feel like some of us, and there's nothing wrong with this, need a coach, need a therapist, need a nutritionist, need somebody that helps us get past that fear, go to Weight Watchers. And you don't want to weigh in because you're afraid of seeing the number. You don't want sticker shock. But the first step is saying, okay, I'm signing up for Weight Watchers. You actually have to go. I remember doing this. I did this with my dad when I think I wanted to lose like 20 pounds. I think I was, or maybe 15. I can't remember what it was, but I remember we decided, and it's actually good to go with someone else. This is just an example because it's almost like accountability. And if they're going, you're going to go with them. It actually makes you go. Sometimes when you go by yourself, you end up like, I'm not going to go. And it was good to go with someone. And we both wanted to lose weight. And I just wanted to be held accountable. I needed a coach to be like, what did you eat this week? Like, what did you do? Oh, I was at a wedding. Well, did you go to the wedding hungry? I mean, kinda. Well, the rule is you should, eat something before you go to an event. So you're not like stuffing your face. And these are like some of the things, but this is Weight Watchers. But, sometimes we need that coach. We need that accountability coach. And there's nothing wrong with that. And I think it's our responsibility as adults that, if there's certain things that we've been dreading or fearing or not or avoiding, we're not doing it. We may need to ask for help. To get us to do it. So for example, I'm trying to think, like a therapist would be great to heal some of the pain in the past. It's really good to work. You have to put the time in. Again, that's someone that can help you. You can heal on your own. I think it's a combination. I'm trying to think, a nutritionist. I hired a nutritionist after I had my first baby, and it was really eye-opening for me because I started to do it on my own. I'm like, I know enough about food. I was an athlete. I know how to do it. I've lost weight before. And it actually, because my body changed so much after babies, it was harder to lose weight. Everything changes inside of you. Your metabolism changes, your body's contorted, you have no idea, it's not the same as when you haven't had kids. It's actually much harder. So this nutritionist was great because she helped me understand food, and then just trial and error, about what worked for my body. And she really helped me educate myself on food and what worked with my body and how my body processed for food. So we all need, the bottom line is, for eating the frog, sometimes we need help. I'm trying to think some other coaches, a trainer, you may not need a trainer for your entire life, but you may need a trainer just to get you to a certain point. So because maybe you're putting off going to the gym, maybe you're not on a regimen, maybe you're not, you need someone to stimulate your willpower, stimulate that initial, so hiring a trainer, you need to show up, so like he or she could be waiting there for you. And you need to get to the gym. A lot of people, I was in the fitness industry for many years, and I was leading the market research for Life Fitness. And we studied a lot about what we were redesigning all our entire cardio equipment. and one of the things we focused on that we found in our market research with people who work out is how do we get people to stay motivated to stay working out? Because a lot of people, when they're running on the treadmill, they're on the bike, whatever, they're like, you know what? Yeah, I put in a half hour, but I'm quitting after 10 minutes. This is too hard. So most people quit. Most people don't even get to the gym. They have a gym membership and they literally don't go to the gym. It's just like a waste. It's literally a subscription that just keeps charging. And then some people have, a elliptical trainer in their house. And they use it to hang laundry. So we did all this research and we're like, how can we get people healthier? And so we actually invested a lot in technology, touchscreen technology, which I led back in the day, and researched everything about what we could do with touchscreens, LCD technology, it's tech. And we could basically reconfigured the entire fitness industry. We were the leaders in doing this. So it was many years ago, because now everyone knows, what do we mean touchscreen technology? That's a given. I'm like, not back then, it was all LED. But that was one of the things, is getting people motivated. But, and we talked to a lot of the gym owners, a lot of, Lifetime Fitness, Fitness 19, the original Bally's. I actually know the CFO. Bally's went out of business, but I'm friends with the CFO. Actually, I need to talk to him. But anyway, we talked about how do we get more people to come into your facility so they're spending money, so they don't quit their gym membership, so we looked at training programs. So how do you get people motivated? But bottom line is, for Eating the Frog, let's say you don't have a coach. Let's say you don't have a therapist. Let's say you don't have anyone, like a little reminder saying, are you going to quit your job and do that startup? What do? Like, how do you self-motivate? The first thing, I think, and I'll speak from personal experience, but I think the first thing is recognizing the fear, recognizing the reason why you're putting it off is you're afraid. And I'm gonna talk about me. And some examples that I can talk about. So, and it's different for everyone. I'm just speaking from personal experience. So, for example, this podcast, I don't really listen to podcasts at all. I've been on people's podcasts, and this is more of my personal journey, probably from healing and probably from just personal growth. But I remember it was 2019. I started talking publicly, but on my Insta stories, about my journey, how sad I was, my divorce, and how sad I was, and just heartbreak, crying, really like heartbreak, because I knew I did it in my Insta stories, because I knew, and people actually were watching and listening, and they were messaging me saying, wow, you're so brave, and you keep telling your story, like, it's healing you, you're feeling, let it out. And they were really encouraging, and they were like, you're an inspiration. And it was great to do that. And it actually was very therapeutic to talk it out. And I was really afraid to put it out there to the world. I was scared because I thought my ex-husband was going to come after me. I mean, I really thought he was going to come after me. I'm just being honest. Based on everything that I was experiencing. But I put it, and then it deleted because it's on the Insta story. And then I started putting it on every morning. I would, at 5 a.m. before my workouts, I would do an Instagram post about an hour. And it's interesting, because I was speaking with someone else, and she's like, well, did you start writing your book yet? And she's like, have you been journaling this? Have you, the past couple of years, I'm like, well, my journal are my Instagram posts, my more early morning Instagram posts. So I need to go back to all my Instagram posts and literally take notes on every single morning session. It's been 2 years. So I have my outline of my book. It's pretty much on Instagram. So now I'm just going to write it down. It literally tracks my whole healing journey every single day. I think there's about 500 posts I mean, I think I've got like 10,000 posts on my Instagram, but literally it is my outline of my book every single day. I think I have about 500 or 600 posts. It's videos. It's insane. So I started getting the courage. I went from the Insta story, which I knew was going to be deleted, to actual posts. And I'm gonna say it right now. I can tell you how therapeutic that was to talk it out, and how empowering it was for people to approach me saying that I've inspired them, that I'm brave, and that, it's making them brave, to speak their truth and to heal the pain that happened to them. And so it encouraged me to keep going and keep speaking my truth and not be afraid. And yes, there are people that came to me who were threatening me. If you say this, if you do this, I'm going to file a lawsuit. I'm going to do, like, literally, I mean, and I think, but I still was brave enough to say it. So it was a process for me. And then I think I got to a place of peace, a place of forgiveness, a place of acceptance, a place of, I recognize that my story can help others, and that I want to help others, because I don't want people to go through what I went through. And if they are going through it, I want to be able to give them strategies and tactics on how to overcome adversity in their life and in their career, because that's what I did, and how to reinvent themselves, how to, kind of be their coach. So, and help them eat the frog, and make those decisions. And it's not just for women, it's for men too, because we all go through it. It's not, even though I'm all about girl power and helping support women, I do believe that men go through a lot, and women go through a lot. And I think with men, it's a little harder because it's hard for women. It's actually, I say it's hard for both. It's hard for both. It's just a different kind of hard. So anyway, getting back to the eat the frog thing. So the first thing is recognizing. So in my case, doing this podcast, it was really a slow process. It wasn't like, okay, the next day I'm going to do a podcast. And it's fine, because now it's a lot more meaningful, because I had to go through the process, the healing process, and I have an outline of a book, which is great. And that's the other thing, is like the book. I remember, I do think timing is everything. And I know that's such a cliche thing to say, but I remember it was 2018. I was dating someone, and he was like, I remember, he's like, you definitely are writing a book. And I remember he's like, can you tell your story on his platform? I'm like, I'm not telling my story. I go, I'm telling a story on my platform. I'm not telling it on somebody. No one's going to use my story for their fame. I'm telling my story on my platform. And that was 2018. And I was like, I need to write this book. And I'm just going to start writing this book. And I wasn't ready to write it. I had so much healing and work to do on myself, personal growth, personal development. I didn't know that at the time. And I was very frustrated, because I wanted to write it. I wanted to write it then and there. I think I wrote a couple posts on Medium, which I probably will go back to, and they'll be in my book. It was such a process for me to think through, because I was literally going through the storm. And I'm like, I should just start writing the book right now. I've been through so much. And, but I wasn't ready. So I do believe timing is everything. But if you feel like you've been putting it off, it's really fear. And in my case, I just wasn't ready. And now how did I get to the podcast? I think I went with my intuition. I think you know what it is? This is what it was. It was fear. I didn't want to do the podcast because I was worried no one's going to listen, and I was going to look like a fool. And then I got to this place, guys. Where it wasn't about likes and followers. It was about me. And my I had good intentions. I have good intentions. My intentions were to help others. So it's really not about me. It's about helping others. And it's also very healing for me to be able to speak my truth. And the other thing when I was researching this, I mean, I was asking people who were doing great podcasts. I wanted to know what the equipment was. I also knew that I really had to really understand myself and my lifestyle. And I don't like being tied to one place. Like, I want to be able to do this in multiple places because I can't, I get very antsy staying in one place for too long. I need to move. I need to go I live here, live there. Like, I need to move and I can't. I feel stifled. So I had to research the equipment that was portable. And there's a lot of equipment. So I think it was a process for me. And I wasn't afraid to do this because I had been speaking. And so somebody had said this when I was researching these podcasts and people, and it was a really nice guy. I don't even know who he was, but I was watching a YouTube video and he said, just talk. He's like, whatever the platform is, just start talking. And I'm like shaking my head. I'm like, this is what I've been doing. Just start talking. So I was just on Instagram, and you know what it was? This is what happened for Instagram. I'm like, I'm not reaching enough people. It was the fact that I couldn't record it and I couldn't put it on different. I wanted to reach more people. It wasn't about becoming popular. It wasn't about fame. It wasn't about likes and followers. I mean, it's great because I can reach more people. It was about helping more people. It really is. And that's kind of why I want to do this. I want to speak. I want to share my story because I can help others get through the storm because it's hard. It's not easy. So anyway, getting back to the eat the frog thing, the first thing is recognizing that you're afraid. I mean, okay. And then I can't really talk about this, but I kind of can. There's something I'm working on that I'm going to tell you guys. Okay, no, I'll go back. So I got divorced. No, I asked for the divorce in 2017, and I'm a serial entrepreneur. I was basically like bootstrapped 3 startups, but the last startup was it is a women's community, a female founder community called Blazing Babes, and we're still in existence and we're pivoting. But basically, I wasn't paying myself. I was pouring all the money into my startup, and I wasn't in my former husband, who was the breadwinner of the family, wasn't giving me any money for it, refused to. I had to do everything myself. And so I learned a lot about that. And so I knew it was a very hard time in my life because I knew that the minute I got divorced, the startup's going to fail. At least that's what I thought at the time. So, and I had invested so much into this startup, and I loved all the women, and I felt like I was going to let my members, my community down. I didn't care about me. I cared about letting people down. And I in my mind at the time, I said, okay, I had to get very comfortable with the fact that this is about taking care of me first and my kids. And I'll have to put Blazing Babes on the back burner until I can get strong footing. So it was no one wants to, someone who's an overachiever doesn't want to fail. I don't like failing, and I don't like letting people down. It was probably two of the way it works for me. And it's interesting because the same analogy is with my daughter. I noticed this when she was playing soccer. She played soccer for 8 years. And I talked to the coach about this. She's running track. But anyway, here's the analogy, because I relate to this on so many levels, and it scares me that she's like this. I think she might have said something too. This is the thing, guys. When she was on the field and somebody pushed her, like, you know how when you're running and in your soccer, you lean into someone to get the ball or whatever, she wouldn't get mad. She just like literally pretend like nothing happened. But if she saw this was, I was like, I think both my former husband and I were like, oh my God, because we were like, who is this girl? If she saw another the opponent, an opponent, grab the shirt from one of her teammates and pull her down, you know what my daughter would do? You know what she did? She would literally like run after, like literally across the field and run after I mean, she wouldn't like go and like shove the girl, but she would get the ball and she'd basically be like, don't you dare touch my teammate. That's how I am. It's like she doesn't, not that she doesn't care about herself, but she protects her people. She puts others before herself. That's what it is. And that's how I am. And that can be a really bad thing. It actually is a bad thing. You really need to take care of yourself. But bottom line is, I knew that I had to put myself first. So this was 2018. But so I was very depressed about it. Not until like the past year since I've come out of this shell, I had an aha moment. But Eat the Frog. So what happened with me is I had an aha moment of my pivot. So I knew, and I also had a lot of amazing community founders, female founders, support me and cheer me on and be my cheerleaders. And I called them brand ambassadors. And boy, can I tell you how much they saved me? I have instances, and I can literally draw names from people within the community that have literally been there for me. I start crying, literally been there for me. And so they were my champions. And to this day, I call them, they're like the originals. And I'm going to celebrate them very soon for everything that they've done for me. And I want to be able to create this culture, this brand culture. It's a brand community culture. I want to amplify it across the United States. But the way it works is referral, because I don't want any bad blood in my community of women. It's about paying it forward. And how do you identify that? And how do you vet for that? And how do you screen for that? That's the key in building the right communities. But anyway, that's something I need to tackle that I'm working on. The bottom line is the Eat the Frog. I had an aha moment, and I'm like, we're relaunching. And I had to really dig deep and accept recognize it's not a failure, it's a pivot. Recognize that I took care of myself and my kids first and made myself and my kids the priority first. And the way I look at it now is create the foundation, Renata, so that this won't happen again, so that you can be there for your members. Create it the right way. Learn from the mistakes and create it with a strong foundation so that, God forbid, you're forsaken. You won't let your members down. And so that's what I've been rebuilding for the past 3 years. And Eat the Frog is, for me in that instance, is recognizing that it's not a failure. It's a change. It's a pivot. And being able to speak it publicly. I wasn't able to say this, that I failed, because I have a problem with that. But being able to say it and not feel sad about it and depressed about it, it's taken a long time. And so, the one thing that my friend who kind of championed me on Eat the Frog, one of the things she said, and I think it's really important, is if you have a to-do list every day, like an email list or whatever, do the work, the thing you don't want to do the most first every single day. Like if you have to send a terrible email or you have to do something that you just don't want to do that first. It makes you so much lighter. It makes you so much happier. You're enjoying the rest of your day. When you leave it to last, first of all, you probably won't do it. And second of all, you're kind of irritable the entire day. So Eat the Frog is do what you don't want to do for the worst. What you don't want to do it first. I think that's on like tactical things every day, like send the email or, tell a founder, I'm sorry, I'm not going to invest in you. Or whatever it is, make the phone call that you don't want to make, text the person, you're just been putting off, like just do it. Just like rip the Band-Aid off. Um, and so I just feel like what I want everyone to know is when you eat the frog, when you do the things you've been putting off for forever, um, you know, you feel so much better. Like I have a friend, and I'm not going to say names, but who, she was with somebody who was kind of ignoring that he has a drinking problem, and it was affecting the relationship. And, he finally because the relationship was it's either do or die. Like she's just like, hey, you know, it's unacceptable because they're merged their families. Like it's just not good. It's just wasn't good for everybody. And he really loves her and cares about her. And he's like, I want to get help. So he went into a rehab facility, and he feels amazing. He's like healthy, and and she supports him, and it's great. I think again, it's like it's been something that's been in his life since he was 18, and I don't know if it's hereditary, whatever, but you got to just do it. It may be painful, and you may be putting it off, but if it is affecting the rest of your life and the people that you love in your life, I mean, sometimes that could be the sign that it needs to happen. I'm trying to think what else. I mean, women have come to me, they want to they're miserable in their marriage, and they're like, what do I do? I'm like, I mean, it's like, eat the frog. I mean, and some of that, it's a little bit difficult because the kids are involved, and some people strategize behind the scenes. And everybody has their way. My way is just ripping the Band-Aid off. But, hindsight's 2020. Would I do it that way? I don't know. It's just who I am. I'm like, when you've had enough, you just want out. You don't care what happens. At the time, I think I was like, I didn't care if I was on the street. I'm like, I'm out of here. It was like the last straw. I just couldn't take any more hits. Everybody's different. But I just feel like losing weight, leaving your job, starting the company. And by the way, it's just baby steps. Like, look what happened to me with this podcast. I mean, mine was baby steps. It's not a black and white. It's not like all of a sudden you're just going to launch a podcast or, do a fund or, leave your company. You have to do small steps. And I think when we do micro steps or mini steps or baby steps, we realize, okay, wait a minute, this is not so bad. I mean, and you start learning. And then as you learn new things, you start getting more comfortable, and you're like, wait a minute, like this podcast thing, this equipment, I mean, even though I probably overbought, it's, and Essie is, I love it. It's like and you know what's so funny? This is more, it's just makes me feel I'm a happier person doing this. And because I feel like I'm helping and this is where I belong. I belong on speaking. I belong on stage. I belong telling my story and helping others. And I'm very comfortable speaking in front of people. I've done it my whole life. I did it in high school. I was president of my high school. I was up on, as an executive pitching into 500, 600, 700 sales guys, all ex-football players. Like 5 women. Or being in a room, oh my gosh, at Life Fitness with 30 engineers, all guys, 2 women. It's easy for me, guys. It's easy. It's just easy. It's natural. Anyway, I want everyone to eat the frog. I really wish that I want some testimonials. I want people to say to me, hey, Renata, thanks for the podcast today. I am eating the frog. I did this. Or I finally, I left my job, or I changed my job, or I went back to work. I've been a stay-at-home mom for 20 years or 10 years, and I don't know what I want to do. I started, taking training, or I started taking a class. I went back to school. Oh my God. And that's what I did. I think, somebody just posted, I need to take another class at Booth. The first step for me in reinventing my career and in figuring out what I was going to do, and I'll end with this, and then we'll do cards, is I remember I was so miserable. It was the fall of 2018. I just gotten divorced and I did not want to go on dates with people. My Friday night, I didn't want to deal with anybody. I was like, I had the best Friday nights for 3 months, 3 to 4 months, from like September to December. I went to the University of Chicago Business School, University of Chicago Booth School of Business 20 years ago. And part of their program is that as alumni, we are entitled to 3 free classes throughout our whole lifetime. And someone had told me about this. I didn't even know this existed. And I'm like, this is the perfect time for me to take a class. And back in the day when I was at Booth, they did not have digital marketing. And I was a marketing and strategy focus at Booth. And they did not have digital marketing. And I'm an investor. I'm also a serial entrepreneur. And, I wanted to understand if you throw money on Facebook and Facebook ads and Google ads, and I just wanted to understand investing in digital marketing. How do you do that with a return? And so I wanted to understand it as an investor. I also wanted to understand it as an entrepreneur for my company, Blazing Babes. And so I went back. I actually stalked the professor for like a year before. I think I actually was in 2017. And he's like, the thing of it is current students who are full-time or part-time paying for the courses get priority. And if there's room for you, they'll say yes. So I had asked him a year prior and he's like, there's no room. And this guy, by the way, I'm friends with this guy. Now I'm friends with him. I wasn't friends before. He lives in San Francisco, and every Thursday he would fly from San Francisco to Chicago to teach this class Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, and then fly back home on Sunday every week. And he had sold his AI startup to Amazon. So most of the AI behind Amazon is from his startup. So he's an entrepreneur, and now he loves teaching. And it's great. He's an amazing professor. And anyway, so I was stalking him. And I begged him. I think I said the second time, I'm like, for the next class, the next semester, the next year, I said, Professor, I'm not gonna say his name. I'm remailing you again. Remember me? I'm the mosquito that's in your ear. I said, I'm reaching out to you to find out if there's space in the class because I really want to take your class. And then I basically gave him the song and dance. I'm like, I just got divorced. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm getting into investing. Can you please, squeeze me in? He's like, there's space. You're in. So I got in. And can I tell you, every Friday night from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m., I was in University of Chicago, but the downtown campus, which is right off on Michigan Avenue, like right behind Michigan Avenue, across the street from the Intercontinental Hotel. And I was thinking to myself, it's dark out, normally women are going on dates with, annoying men on Friday nights, sitting at the bar or at dinner at the Intercontinental. And I'm in class with amazing students who are so smart. A lot of them were part-timers, so they'd work full day and then go to school at night, which is really exhausting. Some of them have families. And so I remember walking in, and I'm very respectful of the current students. I didn't want to this is me going into this classroom. I had the best time. I miss that. I have to go back. Actually, I may take another class. There's a woman that I respect that I want to take a class. It's on personal branding, and I don't need that help. I just want to go to her class. Anyway, so I'm very respectful of, I don't want to sit in the front row and be like, because I'm not paying for the class. So I'm like, I'll sit in the last row. So I walk in and there was a seat, there was a guy sitting there and then an empty seat. And I'm like, do you mind if I sit here? He's like, no, fine, sit here. And, it's day one. And I said to him, I'm small talk, oh, are you a student? He's like, yeah, I'm a student. And I'm like, he's like, I may drop this class. I'm like, why? He's like, yeah, I don't know if I want to take this class. I'm like, take this class. And he's like, I go, what do you do? He's like, well, I'm an entrepreneur. And he's like, I'm an MD, I'm a doctor. I was a plastic surgeon, and now I'm a dermatologist, and I have a startup. I'm like, really? What's a startup? And he told me, and then I'm like, well, I'm an entrepreneur and I have a startup. Turns out his startup, at the end of the day, we ended up becoming friends. We once you sit down, that's your seat for the entire class, the entire semester. So we ended up being in a group together. We got 2 other people. There was another founder that was in our group, I think, or no, he's separate. He was in was a medical startup. Bottom line, I became the guy's CMO, and I helped him with his go-to-market strategy and branding and everything. And we got it. We got into Shark Tank, second rounds, and I mean, it was just like, I'm telling you guys right now, eat the frog, go back to school, you don't know where this is going to lead you. It helped me so much. I mean, go with your gut, trust your instinct. My Friday nights were so much better because look where it led me. I mean, look where I am now. And I didn't want to why waste my time going on dates with annoying men that just brag about themselves? I don't need that. I'd rather be in class. Look what happened to me. So anyway, eat the frog. I want everyone to post how they've been able to tackle their fears. It starts with a baby step. Little baby steps. Anyway, let's do cards. I have my cards. I love doing this. Get my glasses. Okay, ready? Who do you know that needs to get out of... Hold on. Hold on. What? Hold on. Who do you know that needs to get out of therapy? To get out of therapy? I know people who have to be in therapy. I mean, who do you know that needs to get out of therapy? To get out of therapy? I don't know anyone who needs to get out of therapy. I know people that need to get into therapy. Big time. Like 10 years ago. But I'm not here to judge. Everyone has their right time. Hopefully you get a coach to help you eat the frog. I'll tell you what I need to do. I need to stop reading all this social media because it really affects my mental health. I think blocking certain things and not looking at social media actually is very healthy. What you read, the content that you take in on a daily basis really affects your mental health, which then affects your emotional health, which then affects your behavior, and which then affects your life. The content that you take in on a daily basis. I'm going to say this again. See if I say it eloquently. The content that you take in on a daily basis affects your mental health, which then affects your emotional health, which then affects your behavior, which then affects your life. So I need to stop looking at content. Do you remember your first kiss? Yes, I do. Oh, I was visiting my aunt in La Jolla. Oh my God. I don't even know if she's on social media. So I can start again. My dad is Mexican, okay? He was the only one back in the day in the 70s and the 80s that left Mexico to move to the States for not only to open up a medical practice, but also to raise his daughters, because he wanted his daughters to be raised and educated in the United States. Also, it was an opportunity because at the time in the 70s and early 80s, there was an influx of Latin patients who didn't speak the language, English, and they needed Latin doctors to support the change in population. So he was asked to come, whatever. So eventually my cousin, the second his brother moved from Mexico to La Jolla. And I remember, because growing up, we would visit, I visited them in Mexico, and then we visited in La Jolla, in San Diego, La Jolla area. And one of the sons, one of my cousins, came to live with us in Boston for, I think, 2 years, and went to a private boys' school called Fessenden. It's in Newton, Mass. Actually, boys are so cute. They're like with the, like the khaki pants and the tie. I loved picking him up. So he would stay Monday through Friday, and then we'd pick him up on the weekend. He'd stay with us on the weekends. And my favorite, I was like in 6th grade. I was just starting Sacred Heart, which is an all-girls school. And I remember I was in 6th grade going into 7th grade. And that's like when you start like liking, at least I started like liking boys. And I remember so excited to go to Fessenden, because it's like, I was like, let's pick up Bernardo. Can't wait to go to Fessenden. Anyway, bottom line is, my cousin, then I went one spring break. My mom sent me for the first time alone on the plane. I think I was 14, to go to La Jolla to stay with my aunt during my spring break in 8th grade. It was 8th grade. And one of my cousins, his brother, this guy, I don't know what happened. I think I met one of his friends, some surfer dude. And we were at the movie, whatever. He thought I was pretty. And that was my first kiss. It was all right. 8th grade, 14. It was so cute. Oh. What's your good luck charm? Oh, wow. Oh, I'm not wearing it, I don't really have this. I have my Blazing Babes necklace, which I need to go find. I didn't lose it. I have it. I just have to get it. And then this, I got this. This is my only tattoo. Can you see? It's a Roman numeral 2. I got this. I'll tell a story about this. It's good luck. It's good luck. This symbolizes my chapter 2 of my life. So what happened was I was 2019, I do words of the year. I don't do new resolutions. And my word of the year for 2019 was travel. I traveled everywhere. I was in Bermuda. I was in Mexico like 3 times. I went to Vegas twice, maybe 3 times by myself. Everywhere. I was everywhere. Connecticut, visit my sister. I just was traveling. I went to the US Open alone. It was great. Went to the finals for the first time. Oh my God. I had the greatest year. It was a hard year, but it was a great year. But anyway, I remember being on the airplane going to Vegas, and there was a woman who had tattoos like all over herself. And I was like, oh, look at your tattoos. I'm not a tattoo person. I'm very anti-tattoo. And it's not judgy. I just don't like anything permanent on my body. And I like being clean, classic and clean. That's just me. And I'm like, I want to get a tattoo. I said, oh, I really want to get a tattoo. I didn't have the goal of getting a tattoo when I was going there. I was going there. I don't know why. I just sit at the pool at the Wynn and by myself. You know what it was? I wanted to prove to myself that I could go to the Wynn, because my ex-husband and he always went to Vegas, and I was always his arm candy. And it was literally just stand next to me so we can get free drinks, and forever. And at the beginning of our marriage, I wasn't allowed to go to Vegas because it was a guy's trip. And my former sister-in-law convinced my then husband that this is just so crazy. Because he was worried I was just going to always be like, where are you? Why aren't you back at the room? And she said to him, because she was allowed to go, because he went with my former brother-in-law. And she's like, would text me and be like, I don't know why you're not here. I'm just sitting by the pool by myself. It's so boring because I'm fun. And she knows that. And she's like, to her brother, she's like, just have her come this trip. She's not going to nag you and like ask you where you are. And so I remember him saying to me, you can't be texting me, telling me like asking me where I am. And I'm like, I don't know who you think I am, but I'm like, I don't care. And so, you know what's so hilarious? She and I were like, we just he was gambling. I don't need to gamble. I'm like, she and I are like at the bar. And then next thing you know, it's like 2 in the morning. Or no, not even. It's midnight. We were invited to some big party, this private club up on some roof, and he's texting me, "Where are you? You're not answering me." I didn't even have my phone. I'm like, I'm just dancing, and like, we're like at some exclusive club. He's like, "Can you get us in?" It's like these guys. I'm like, I don't care where you are. Do whatever you want. Anyway, what was the question? Oh, my good luck charm. So anyway, I was in Vegas. So I wanted to go to Vegas to prove to myself that I don't need to go with a man. I can be by myself. I can walk the floor of the Wynn, dressed up, sexy and hot, say no to everyone that's coming up to me. No, talk to the hand. And this, that's why my purpose. I was just going to like hang at the pool, drink margaritas, be by myself, and have maybe go to Cirque du Soleil, see O again for the 6th time. And literally, this girl, she said to me, we're talking about her tattoo. She's showing me everything. She's like, "You should." And I was telling her about, I'm in my chapter 2 of my life. You know, I'm divorced. I just got divorced, and I don't want to think about the past. I want to look at the future. And she's like, "You should get a tiny little Roman numeral 2 on your wrist. So like, if you want to wear a watch, you can cover it up to be conservative. But if you want to see it, so you see it every day, so you won't cry anymore. And you'll always think about your chapter 2. And so I didn't even check into the hotel. I got off the plane. I went right to the tattoo parlor. I forgot where I think it was the Venetian. And I literally was like, "Do it." Anyway, this is my good luck charm. That's a long-winded story. This is like an hour and a half. Whatever. Okay. What steps could you take in the future to achieve a happier you? Be really careful about the content that I'm reading every day on social media. I think that really affects my mental health and emotional health. What steps could you take in the future to achieve a happier you? If I'm at a point where it's okay now. Before I couldn't handle it, but if any negative people come at me with any comments, diffuse it and not let it affect me, not absorb that, and recognize that they're just hurt and they're just going through the storm like I did. And I think I'm at a place right now where I understand, and I'm not going to get upset. I'm not going to take it personally. They're just at a place that they're just not healed yet, and they're just going through it. Whether or not they decide to get to a good place, it's on them. And I can't take that on. So it's really about distancing myself. So I just feel like distancing myself. I need to distance myself from people. I'm not being mean. I just can't absorb and be around negative energy or energy that doesn't really fill my soul. And and be in environments that don't align with my goodness and my positivity and where I see my life going. So I have to just say goodbye. I have to distance myself. It's not being mean. It's just a choice. Would you rather go on a rocket into space or on a submarine at the bottom of the ocean? I mean, you know what? Both of them, it's claustrophobia. I have a severe anxiety to feeling trapped. I can't even be in a cubicle in an office. That's how claustrophobic I am. Like, I can't believe I get on an airplane. I mean, I just don't think about it. And I fall asleep. Would you rather go on a rocket into space or on a submarine? Honestly, probably a rocket into space if I had to do it, because now you can do it. Throw me up there. But I heard, who was it? My son was saying, I think there's something negative. You can affect your health going into space. I think going below the ocean. I don't want to do it. Not interested. What do you think airplanes will look like in 50 years? I think my kids had this question at dinner one night. Somebody said, I think it was my son. I think he said, no, maybe I said it. He said something, I said it. I think an airplane is going to, what did they say? It's going to be less of like, let's just sit there. It's going to be more like a club. Like it's going to be more like a country club. Like it's going to be so big that you can literally do stuff. Like, it's like you're not even on an airplane. You're just like at a club like it's like taking like a country club. Like you don't even know where you are. It's going to be a lot faster. It's going to be a lot faster. All right, this is the last one. I got to see, and then I got to go. I hope you guys like this one. I did too. Oh, okay. Ready? This is another. It's a girl power one. I don't even know who this is. Grace Hopper, a pioneer of computer programming. Grace worked on the Harvard Mark I, 1944, UNIVAC, 1949, and was instrumental in the creation of standardized computer languages. You know what? Why are bros getting all the attention these days? Like, we don't even know who this is. She should be highlighted. Like tech guys and tech. You know what? Guys are, because of her, there's tech. Guys should not be highlighted. They should not be put on pedestals. I'm sorry. She should be. I'll read it again. A pioneer of computer programming, Grace worked on the Harvard Mark I, 1944, UNIVAC, 1949, and was instrumental in the creation of standardized computer languages. She coined the term bug to refer to unexplained computer failures. Here's the thing. Do you spend more time socializing online or in the company of friends? I've had this before. I'll say it again. Online communities are great. I think you can get to more people. I mean, at Blazing Base, we're pivoting to focus mostly online, 80% online, but we were mostly face-to-face. Can I tell you the energy and the love in a room when you're face-to-face with people is unexplainable. You cannot create that same level of love online. I just want to hug people. I can't wait to do our face-to-face events. They're expensive. It takes a lot of work. It's exhausting. Every single one that we've done over the past 6 years, it took a lot out of me. I always I remember being so nervous and anxious because I want people to have fun. I want people to show up. I want, sell tickets. It's hard. I had to schlep everything. I did everything alone. It was me and one other person that helped me like part-time, like an intern. Barely. It was pretty much me, like 99% of the time. It's a lot of work. And then one of my associate helped me kind of the back half, the past 3 years. But it's a lot. Physical events it takes a toll on you. But the people I will say this about physical face-to-face events. It creates the culture. It creates your brand. It creates you can create a brand online with online communities for sure. But what I'm saying is, I think a hybrid where you have face-to-face, it's the brand, you have more brand loyalty from your followers because they've experienced the face-to-face and they know what you stand for, the values that you stand for, your brand stands for, your community, what it stands for when you have face-to-face. And that can be replicated online, but having the face-to-face at least twice a year, once a year, or whatever the cadence is, I think is vital. Do you spend more time socializing online or in the company of friends? I need to be more with friends. I'm done with being online. Like if I can limit myself, I want to spend less time online. I need human interaction. I want it every day. I mean, I work home by myself, but that's what I need. Anyway, guys, hopefully that was great. I loved it. Happy Tuesday. Before I go, I did say I was going to have a book a day, maybe a book a week, but I want to take a shout out to one of my favorite photographers, Katie Parker. She's amazing. I've been following her for years. She has a couple books out. I think she's doing another book, which I think I asked to be featured. Hopefully she'll put me in for women empowerment. This is one of her first books that came out. It's called Strong is the New Pretty. I bought this for my daughter, but she has all these amazing photos. And this is kind of what the book that I want to create, but not something similar. She'll have these amazing, powerful photos of girls. And she has a book, that are athletes, that are doing things that are empowering. Here's a roller derby girl. I'm trying to think. Fencing. My daughter's doing fencing. For example, I'll read this one with this girl. She's fencing. This is the greatest book. All right, hold on. Let me read this. Being mentally strong this is a quote from this girl, Catherine. Her name is Catherine. This is every single page has a little girl, different age. Being mentally strong is 10 times harder than being physically strong. Mental stamina does not come from the muscles or from training. It comes from the heart and from the mind. Calling on my heart is far more difficult than calling on my muscles. She's 12 years old. This is a great book. I love you, Katie. You're the best. I hope I meet you one day. I want to be in your new book. Please put me in your new book. This is Strong as a New Pretty, a celebration of girls being themselves. She also did a book for boys, and it's about having an open heart and expressing your feelings. And that's bravery for men and for little boys. Little boys should feel comfortable and confident to express their feelings. It's okay to cry. It's okay to be sad. It shouldn't be repressed, because there are going to become men that are going to become very hard and hardened. Anyway, and she's doing a new book. Anyway, I just wanted to shout out to Katie Parker. I love her. Anyway, guys, have a great Tuesday. Got to start my day. Later.